Check, check. One, two, three. Can you guys hear my voice?
I can hear you.
All right, cool. Well, why don't we go ahead and kick off? I was just saying that NERPS has been awesome. Had the event last night with Morpheus community and Bagel and everybody wanting to talk smart agents. Yeah, let's uh, let's kick it off. Kevin, anything you want to highlight, man?
Yeah, I'm also in Vancouver for NERPS, and I've been here for a couple days. It's been a really great conference. A lot of agent builders here, many who aren't familiar with kind of the AI blockchain intersection. So we've had a lot of great conversations with that audience, kind of teaching everybody about Morpheus and smart agents, and really good reception. So yeah, NeurIPS has been great. We've met with a lot of teams, and then there are also a lot of decentralized AI teams here. I think for the first year, so we have Morpheus, Akash, BitTensor, and others who I don't think have been going to NeurIPS, but that kind of that merger of disciplines is really starting to kick off. Uh, other updates from me for the accelerator. There's been a lot of inbound from our soft announcement, so that's been really good. Been talking to a number of builders who are interested in joining the accelerator and taking advantage of launching agents with builder rewards, use cases across DeFi, gaming, multi-agent interoperability, LLM, uh, chat front ends. So there's been a lot of interest there. That's been great. We have some developer resources now, and so a community member is helping out revamp the accelerator website. That work will kind of continue through the end of the year. I'm really excited. I think to get a larger accelerator announcement out in January, kind of on the tails of Builder Rewards going live.
Cool. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, that's probably the big thing I want to update everybody on for the smart contracts is it looks like the coding should be done on another week or so for the builder contracts. The builder contracts got developed a few months back. They went through audits, they went through testing, and it was sort of pending on compute going live. So now that compute is live, we can refocus on getting builder rewards up and going. So for those keeping track at home, that will move Morpheus from the Homestead era into the Metropolis era. So the last big sort of milestone to get builder rewards live. I'd expect with testing and everything, yeah, like you're saying, probably the first week or two of January. And so yeah, it's exciting to see that all coming together because that'll unlock rewards for agent builders and application builders and folks like Venice and CoinCap and everybody else in the community that's been building on top of Morpheus will have a way to have people stake more towards them and earn rewards. So I think that's going to be huge, right? That's the whole point of Morpheus is to enable smart agent builders, right, with capital, code, and compute. And so that going live is going to be awesome. So yeah, excited for that. Kyle, you want to go next? Speaking of all things compute.
Yeah, sure. Um, so a couple things on the compute front. Great to hear, Kevin, that on the accelerator side, seeing a lot of like GPT style front end that's going to drive some good demand for compute. I think that's probably biggest opportunity for us right now is to really crank up the demand side for compute. We've onboarded a couple more providers in the last week or two, really starting to build out that solid base of compute providers, and really the demand is what comes next. Um, for enabling demand, we spent a ton of time this week developing confidential compute technology. So we are looking for ways, or we identified a way to have completely confidential inference from a consumer to a provider where the provider is not able to see what prompts are flowing through their system in any way, shape, or form. So over the next couple weeks, there should be some larger scale announcements on that as far as how to do it, who's offering it, and what the provider premiums might be to use that type of service. So really exciting stuff on that front. I would say certainly first in the industry, that's going to be offered commercially, and a really novel approach to getting that done. And that kind of sets the rails for a larger scale Venice implementation when we get there.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm glad you've been focused on that whole confidential compute stuff, man. That's critical for Venice, and probably most users want to access confidential compute, right? Especially for anything involving smart contracts and money and crypto. You know,
Absolutely.
privacy is key. So yeah, that's awesome. Thanks for the update. Bo, you want to go next?
Yeah, thank you. So on the token integration side, we have a couple bids that have come in for development teams looking to potentially build on the more token on Sol. So we can, we're working towards that integration, which will then integrate with Wormhole and Layer Zero, and I think would be awesome for the project to be, cross-chain from an Ethereum ecosystem perspective to a Solana ecosystem perspective. I have a handful of upcoming calls with exchanges who are interested in the project, both DEX and centralized exchanges. So we're working on that front as well as follow-ups coming up with the EthOS guys with the Ethereum phone. On the capital side, a new, I guess, type of business and or entity that I'm paying attention to and starting to target are, and would be great, if we can get help from the community, if they have any contacts with these types of entities, are any type of business that offers an earn program for their users or clients, because they could greatly benefit from the referral program through the Morpheus capital contract. And the business itself could actually be earning more tokens based on their referrals being their clients using their earn program. So it kind of creates a really good feedback loop for the business itself, and some great incentives there for them to get involved with Morpheus. On the demand side, Kyle, I know you touched on this, and we'll talk further about this, but also changing focus a little bit onto who are some of these existing businesses, or basically anybody who has demand and users who want to use compute and could ultimately be like clients of the compute providers through Morpheus. Some of those, and this is just a couple ideas that were thrown out from a conversation I had with Roughshock yesterday. But businesses like people who've been deplatformed because of the fact that AWS or whoever their centralized compute provider no longer wants to provide services for them, that's somebody who might be a great fit for Morpheus Compute. Anybody who's already using centralized routers that are routing them to open source models. If they're already open to using open source models, they're likely to benefit from having decentralized routing as opposed to a centralized entity doing the routing for them. And then, of course, on the side that Kevin already spoke on, the builders and actual people who are developing agents who can be consumers of compute. But yeah, those are kind of the focuses that I'm really paying attention to right now. And so if you or anybody listening to this has, connections with an entity that fits one of those molds, and it's, someone you can help us get in touch with, definitely, please do.
Cool. Sounds good, man. Appreciate the update. Luke, loved the video the other day, man. I thought you encapsulated the vision of the Morpheus community so well when you were talking down in Puerto Rico at the Blockchain Week. So I don't know if you're in a spot at the conference where you can pipe in, but yeah.
Sure.
Welcome.
Yeah, I'm standing outside of East Puerto Rico right now. Actually, just jumped out of it to join you guys. Yeah, it's been a great week. We Brian Boudry hosted a kind of demo tools for Freedom Day, and that was fantastic. I got to demonstrate compute. Big shout out to Kyle. This week he walked through with me, kind of start to finish the whole deal. I kind of got the router up and running, bring the model up and running, and I actually wanted to make a point that I learned through that process that most of the people playing around with testnet and things of that nature, you're probably still going to need to host your router somewhere else. And that's something we kind of learned or I kind of learned kind of going through the process. And some people do spin up like an AWS, for example, because otherwise you're going to be exposing your actual IP out on the internet for everyone, because you're going to have to submit it to the blockchain to say, hey, here's where my router is so that I can provide compute. So just an FYI, if you're tinkering around with that stuff, Kyle was mentioning that, sometimes jumping in there, you can see people that have just made their router completely open to the internet without the proper firewalling, which is not ideal because that's has endpoints for your wallet, has private key information, stuff like that. So just FYI, I'm going to work with everyone to kind of get that documentation cleaned up a little bit. There's about 3 or 4 documents that are kind of saying the same thing, and hopefully put some videos in there as well, as far as setting up the router, setting up your model that you want to host, and also setting up kind of the consumer side of the things if you want to actually consume a model. So that's happening. Also at Tokenize, Michael Turpin's event, I got to do a fireside chat with him, and I recorded that on my little camera. So that, I think that went really well. I got to explain the More 20 model. A number of people came up to me afterwards, really excited about launching their own More 20. So I'm pretty excited about that. Probably do a video soon on how easy that is. That was also demoed by Player Taco at Brian's event. So it was really, or actually, I think Kyle went through that demo. Taco did another demo. So a bunch of great demos. Kind of we had a whole hour long talking about Morpheus during that event. Also, we'll be speaking tomorrow at the Limitless conference here, and that'll be fun. We'll have an opportunity to share about Morpheus. But yeah, other than that, things are going well. There's a lot of cool excitement about it. I think people are really understanding the importance of self-sovereign, decentralized, unrestricted access to intelligence. And people are realizing it needs to be distributed. It can't just be, a central server provider. And they're looking at Morpheus going, wow, this is kind of the solution we need. So really cool to see the excitement around it and people understanding that have been in the space for a long time, realizing the reason that we're excited about Bitcoin is its self-sovereign nature and its decentralized, threat to powers that be. And we're looking at AI via Morpheus as a similar solution for the powers that be when it comes to restricting intelligence, restricting access to tools that give people more freedom. So it's a pretty exciting time. I'm excited about all the community involved. Some cool stuff coming.
Awesome. Sounds good, Luke. Well, and it's really interesting you bring up the need for somebody to run the router. There's a number of projects, and this is probably falls into Bo's category, but like there's a number of projects that do decentralized RPC. So basically host nodes for communities. And so it's probably worth looking at some of those projects that do RPC services. Right. And if we can get them to run Morpheus nodes, then that'll be a resource ongoing for the community. Anybody that wants to run a computer or needs a full node but doesn't want to run it themselves, and you want somebody like Luke said to set it up with proper cybersecurity, and it would be better to have that community run than everybody spinning up one on AWS. So that's a really, really good thought. So
yeah,
follow up with
in addition to that, like we had a meeting we set up with Fleet Network. They actually were specializing in the TEE, the secure computing environment way of doing this. And that I wasn't able to make the meeting, but I heard that was a really great meeting. And that's another example of like blockchain based projects that are really thinking about not just decentralized RPCs, which is super important, like Pocket Network, things like that, but also specifically the secure computing environment side of it, because that's also a big part of the ethos. It's not enough to just to have your distributed out there in different servers, but it also, you want to keep it secure and private. So even the person running the server doesn't have the ability to actually look at what question was asked and what the answer was or anything like that. It's completely secure.
Cool. Yeah, no, that's really important. Sounds good. But yeah, Bo, I'll follow up with you on that. There's Pocket and a couple of other networks that do decentralized RPC.
Okay,
that I'm familiar with.
perfect.
So if
That
we can
sounds
get them
good.
to
I have
do
a
integration, that'd be awesome.
Sounds perfect. Thank you. I have a quick question for Luke. Luke, I was listening to your fireside chat actually right before we jumped on. Did I hear you say, so I haven't had a chance to read Michael Turpin's book yet. It's actually being shipped to me right now. But did I hear you say that he actually gives Morpheus a shout out by name in the book?
Yeah, definitely. I tweeted about it and I took a screenshot of the picture. I think it's like page 160 something like that. But yeah, he gives a shout out to Morpheus, which I thought was pretty cool. I
That's
talked to him
awesome.
pretty early on about it. I think Jeff McDonald did as well. He mentioned, so a number of people here in Puerto Rico brought it to his attention. He may or may not have participated with some Ethereum staking. I don't know. You might want to ask him. But yeah, I think he's a fan.
Awesome. That'll be a fun Easter egg for the future. The first print mention of Morpheus in a book.
Good times. All right, man. Well, I think that's pretty much it. Big, stuff we covered today. Builder contracts getting pretty close, potentially going live early next month, put us into the next era of Metropolis. And yeah, unlocking those rewards for all the builders in the community. I mean, I really think, talking to people here at NERPS, like people get that agents are going to be the thing of 2025, right? And the people paying attention met a few groups that are building multi-agent systems. A lot of them are open source, and they realize, oh wow, I could use Morpheus to monetize all these agents, right? So it's been really cool just trying to direct all those different groups to the different open source contributors that are working on those different aspects. So yeah, but yeah, it's been an awesome week. Thanks for everybody jumping on real quick to do the maintainer chat, even when everybody's traveling. It's all good. I know it's great for the community to sort of see what's going on. So anyway, appreciate you guys. I'll see you next week.